The Sealed Nectar. Chapter 2. Rulership and Princeship among the Arabs. When talking about the Arabs before Islam, we deem it necessary to draw a mini-picture of the history of rulership, princeship, sectarianism, and the religious dominations of the Arabs, to facilitate the understanding of emergent circumstances when Islam appeared. When the sun of Islam rose, rulers of Arabia were of two kinds: crowned kings, who were in fact not independent, and heads of tribes and clans, who enjoyed the same authorities and privileges possessed by crowned kings and were mostly independent, though some of whom could have shown some kind of submission to a crowned king. The crowned kings were only those of Yemen, Hira, and Ghassan. All other rulers of Arabia were non-crowned. Rulership in Yemen. The folks of Sheba were one of the oldest nations of the pure Arabs who lived in Yemen. Excavations at Ur brought to light their existence 25 centuries BC. Their civilization flourished, and their domain spread 11 centuries BC. It is possible to divide their ages according to the following estimation. 1. The centuries before 650 BC, during which their kings were called Makrib Sheba. Their capital was Sarwa, also known as Kariba, whose ruins lie in a spot a day's walk from the western side of Marib. During this period, they started building the Dam of Marib, which had great importance in the history of Yemen. Sheba was also said to have had so great a domain that they had colonies inside and outside Arabia. 2. From 650 BC until 115 BC. During this era, they gave up the name Makrib and assumed the designation of kings of Sheba. They also made Marib their capital instead of Sarwa. The ruins of Marib lie at a distance of 60 miles east of Sana'a. 3. From 115 BC until 300 AD. During this period, the tribe of Himyar conquered the kingdom of Sheba and took Raidan as capital instead of Marib. Later on, Raidan was called Zifar. Its ruins still lie on Mudawwar mountain near the town of Yerim. During this period, they began to decline and fall. Their trade failed to a very great extent, firstly, because of the Nabatean domain over the north of Hejaz. Secondly, because of the Roman superiority over the naval trade routes after the Roman conquest of Egypt, Syria, and the north of Hejaz. And thirdly, because of the intertribal warfare. Thanks to the three above-mentioned factors, the families of Qahtan were disunited and scattered out. 4. From 300 AD until Islam dawned on Yemen. This period witnessed a lot of disorder and turmoil. The great many civil wars rendered the people of Yemen liable to foreign subjection and hence loss of independence. During this era, the Romans conquered Aden and even helped the Abyssinians, Ethiopians, to occupy Yemen for the first time in 340 AD, making use of the constant intra-tribal conflict of Hamdan and Himyar. The Abyssinian, Ethiopian occupation of Yemen lasted until 378 AD, whereafter Yemen regained its independence. Later on, cracks began to show in Marib Dam, which led to the Great Flood, 450 or 451 AD, mentioned in the Noble Quran. This was a great event which caused the fall of the entire Yemeni civilization and the dispersal of the nations living therein. In 523, Dhu Nawas, a Jew, dispatched a great campaign against the Christians of Najran in order to force them to convert into Judaism. Having refused to do so, they were thrown alive into a big ditch where a great fire had been set. The Quran referred to this event in Surah 85, verse 4. Cursed were the people of the ditch. This aroused great wrath among the Christians and especially the Roman emperors, who not only instigated the Abyssinians, Ethiopians, against Arabs, but also assembled a large fleet which helped the Abyssinian, Ethiopian army of 70,000 warriors to effect a second conquest of Yemen in 525 AD under the leadership of Ariat, who was granted rulership over Yemen, a position he held until he was assassinated by one of his army leaders, Abraha, who, after reconciliation with the king of Abyssinia, took rulership over Yemen and later on deployed his soldiers to demolish Al-Kaaba, and, hence, he and his soldiers came to be known as the Men of the Elephant. After the Elephant incident, the people of Yemen, under the leadership of Madikarib bin Saif Dhu Yazan al-Himyari, and through Persian assistance, revolted against the Abyssinian, Ethiopian invaders, restored independence and appointed Madakarib as their king. However, Madakarib was assassinated by an Abyssinian, Ethiopian. He used to have him around for service and protection. The family of Duyazan was thus deprived of royalty forever. Kisra, the Persian king, appointed a Persian ruler over Sanya, and thus made Yemen a Persian colony. Persian rulers maintained rulership of Yemen until Bathan, the last of them, embraced Islam in 638 AD, thus terminating the Persian domain over Yemen. Rulership in Hira. Ever since Korosh the Great, 557–529 BC, united the Persians, they ruled Iraq and its neighborhood. Nobody could shake off their authority until Alexander the Great vanquished their king, Dara I, and thus subdued the Persians in 326 BC. Persian lands were thenceforth divided and ruled by kings known as the Kings of Sex, an era which lasted until 230 AD. Meanwhile, the Khataniyans occupied some Iraqi territories and were later followed by some Adnaniyans who managed to share some parts of Mesopotamia with them. The Persians, under the leadership of Ardashir, who had established the Sasanian state in 226 AD, regained enough unity and power to subdue the Arabs living in the vicinity of their kingdom, and forced the Qudaa tribe to leave for Syria, leaving the people of Hira and Anbar under the Persian domain. During the time of Ardashir, Juzaima al-Wada exercised rulership over Hira, Rabia, and Mudar, and Mesopotamia. Ardashir had reckoned that it was impossible for him to rule the Arabs directly and prevent them from attacking his borders, unless he appointed as king one of them, who enjoyed the support and power of his tribe. He had also seen that he could make use of them against the Byzantine kings, who always used to harass him. At the same time, the Arabs of Iraq could face the Arabs of Syria, who were in the hold of Byzantine kings. However, he deemed it fit to keep a Persian battalion under the command of the king of Hira to be used against those Arabs who might rebel against him. After the death of Juzaima around 268 AD, Amr bin Adi bin Nasr al-Lakhmi was appointed as king by the Persian king, Sabur bin Ardashir. Amr was the first of the Lakhmi kings who ruled Hira, until the Persians appointed Qabaz bin Fairuz, in whose reign appeared someone called Mazdak, who called for dissoluteness in social life. Qabaz and many of his subjects embraced Mazdak's religion and even called upon the king of Hira, al-Munzir bin Ma-as-Sama, to follow after. When the latter, because of his pride and self-respect, rejected their orders, Qabaz discharged him and nominated Harith bin Amr bin Hajar al-Kindi, who had accepted the Mazdaki doctrine. No sooner did Kisra Anusharwan, the emperor of Persia, succeed Qabaz than he, due to hatred of Mazdak's philosophy, killed Mazdak and many of his followers, restored Munzir to the throne of Hira, and gave orders to